going to be a little bit of a tangent here, but I think it's a tangent that's necessitated in light of the time that we're in right now in this country. So I want to draw just particular attention to upcoming election in our country. By God's grace, we have a say in who leads this country and how this country operates. And so I want to exhort us to be responsible, biblically responsible with the say that God has given us. Now, my aim would not be to encourage you, exhort you to vote for a particular person or with a particular party, but to vote and to live in this country informed by biblical truth. So the Bible informs all kinds of issues that affect the political arena that we are in. And so our goal as followers of Christ is to be true to His Word in the middle of the issues that surround us and the risk of oversimplification. And there are countless things we could dive into, but there's scores of examples of how biblical truth affects the way we live in this country. And we've talked about these things. If you want to dive deeper, you can go onto our resource website at radical.net and you can dive into them more. But the Bible compels us as Christians, pilgrims in this country, to fight against abortion, period. Abortion is one of the most deadly, morally outrageous, sinfully vicious practices that we participate in this country in the name of freedom. Well over a million babies have been aborted, i.e. murdered in this country over the last year alone. And that is unacceptable for people who believe that God forms babies in the inward parts and knits them together in mothers' wombs. Psalm 139, verse 13. Another example, the Bible informs us, compels us to care for the poor, to love the outcast, to serve the needy. Biblically, we cannot indulge in the luxuries of this country while ignoring the destitute around us. That's not a life that's consistent with the gospel. Galatians chapter 2, verse 10, 2 Corinthians chapter 8 and 9. So we live in this country, we vote in this country, we work in this church in view of how we can best care for the poor. That's biblically important to us. Another example, marriage, an institution designed by God from the beginning of creation for the display of Christ's love for His church. So we guard marriage, whether it's with our vote in this country or with the way we love and serve our husbands or wives in our homes. So we could go on and on with other examples, with biblical truth informing the way we live, the way we vote in this country as pilgrims. But my primary aim in even mentioning that is to emphasize that we are pilgrims on a journey in this country today, and we have responsibility for how we live as pilgrims in this country today. So we don't just, last week I made mention of God's sovereign over who's going to be president. Absolutely God's sovereign over who's going to be president. That doesn't mean we sit back in this sea of divine passivity and do nothing in our country because God's sovereign over everything. We work in this country as pilgrims to be faithful to this word, knowing that while we're pilgrims in this country today, we're citizens of a kingdom in a country to come.